here. Oh my gosh, David, you're you're pouring one out for your homies. That looks
it's like
a
it's
gift.
for each sand of time.
He's pouring one out for the sand people.
You know the theme of this show is
spoilers.
water, right?
Ooh, yes, very much so. All right, should we just get right into spoilers, gang? I want to open this up. I'm gonna put on the.
Uh-oh, here comes.
If you want a synopsis, I got a brief one.
Hell, look at the comments.
So Julia.
Yes, well, he preloaded us, so we've got a lot to talk about.
Mr. Copy Paste over there.
Hey, Twitter is a valuable tool. So this is the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 3. We are talking about. This is the Boba Fett Book Club, Chapter 3, talking about the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 3, the Streets of Mos Espa. And
Carl Malden and Michael Douglas were nowhere on this episode, a chapter. I was really upset.
I felt robbed, frankly. So I am Ian Simmons of Kicking the Seat. I'm here with Annie Banks of Chuckload of Comics and Movie Web, David Fowley of Keeping It Real, and Mike Crowley of You'll Probably Agree, and 25 years later, fresh, I think, out of a screening of the new Scream. Is that right, David? How much booze do you have in that can?
I guess we could say fresh out of the screaming.
Oh, the screaming.
Were there a lot of screaming?
David, are you drinking for both Boba and Scream?
Could be.
Okay.
I'm drinking for both twins.
Yikes. Well, you should not be talking about twins and drinking, especially if you're expecting.
I'm in consolidation of all rancors.
Oh my gosh. All right, we're going to get into all of this. Should we start off with Sejua's comments, or do you want to do a synopsis?
Let's see what it says.
Mike wants to do the synopsis. Let him do a synopsis.
Okay. Let Sejua do the synopsis.
All right, Mike, you do the synopsis. You said you can do the quickest one ever. Let's hear it. What happened in the streets of Mos Espa? Yeah, let's do it.
Nothing happens. All right, but literally, okay. All right, but that's the loadout. The quick one, Boba Fett is nearly killed again. He escapes his second assassination attempt where he got saved because apparently he's a brilliant legend. And he gets a pet rancor trained by Danny Trejo. And then I think Stephen Schrute at one point complains that he's getting water, but it was just some teenagers ripping him off. And now he has a teenager in a motorcycle gang that looks very similar to the scooters from the chase scene from Back to the Future Part 2. By the way, check out Back to the Future, airing tomorrow. And by the way, talking about using practical effects, boy, did those look cheap when they went down the streets, didn't they? They looked like they were going slow, and I'm like, maybe here a little bit of CG would help. Anyways, by the end of the episode, we find out that it's the Pikes they're going after.
Now, who are the Pikes? Cool. I feel like I don't know who they.
Clone Wars.
Oh, from the Clone Wars, which I would know if I had caught up on.
Were they the same as the Sandpiercer aliens? Were those the same guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
I like that.
This show is getting out of control. In terms of
Dear Mr. Favreau.
that implies a degree of excitement or innovation, something chaos, but it's getting out of control just in terms of a persistence on not allowing anything cool or interesting or forward moving to happen, while also bathing in a back to tank of callbacks and references. You've got, first of all, if you're going to start off your episode with a previously on, don't do it with the Rancor bit. I mean, I understand they're trying to set up the Rancor pit, but that whole thing where the guy falls down and they're like, "Oh, the Rancor pit," and it's empty, right? Okay. Yeah. Also, you've got the spider creature with the weird, chemistry set head.
Those are monks.
Monks. Well, I want to become a monk after watching this episode. Just go up to the hills and never think about Star Wars again. And Annie, I want to bring up something. This is all over the. Yeah. Well, I might turn my back on the Force, but Annie, I want to pick up on something that you had mentioned at the end of last week's episode about. Or something like, if you really want to love Star Wars, you also have to be able to hate it in a certain way or make fun of it.
Yeah, the best part about Star Wars is making fun of Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting to that point.
Well,
Oh,
You've got the burping lizard toad thing, you know, slurping up the smaller lizard sitting outside Jabba's palace. Jabba's
always a bigger
ex-palace.
creature there is.
I don't know. Help me out here, gang. What is going on with the Book of
I
Boba
just
Fett?
don't know why we need to see the Hutt twins again in CGI for them to do nothing and contribute nothing.
I just want like a little slide rule effects, like
it's funny you
Wah,
mention
wah.
CGI because it's like, how come
Can
they
John
look like
Williams
CGI?
score
Why
this?
won't- Oh no, he's 90. He doesn't want to
Hey,
do this. I think
just
after the sequel
commenting,
trilogy, he's like, I'm
TCTG.
good. You gave me my check. I'm done.
Oh, hold on a second, gang. I will get to that in just a second. I
That's
forgot to turn on the
Peasage
display
Midju.
names. Okay. All right. So we're going to go through all of these comments. We're going to start here. Some of these, I think we'll just read through them and then address them as we come because there's a lot. Most of them from Sajiwa, who as I mentioned, preloaded the show. This were in here when I first got into the studio
He's
before we
gone
went
by
live.
now.
Maybe. My bold, controversial theory is that most of what we see in the show are dreamlike memories of Boba while he is recovering in the back to tank and not actual events. I hope to God. I hope
Wait,
this is
Are
a
you supposed to be
Dallas.
posting these? 'Cause they're not posting.
Oh, yikes. Well, you should
There
be
we
looking
go.
at the comments, David.
Okay, I just
So
want
you had to lean in.
the at-home
Viola.
viewers to play along.
That's true.
Okay, Zajua, then when does it get good?
This is,
Riddle
that's
me
my
that.
question.
When is he healed up and when does he just go on a tear? Like, obviously, this is leading to a final battle, but that final battle better deliver. And if Robert Rodriguez is directing this so far, he has to impress me with his action. Is he just getting old? Is he like the movie I just walked back from, where it's just another callback to stuff and I'm just getting tired of all this?
Hey, stop that.
Wait, some of us have not seen it yet, and we are,
Like, we weren't
quote
there.
unquote, dripping with anticipation. All right, so that would explain why the big city crime bass story has changed. Filmed and edited like a minimalist, absurd comedy. Like, how did the Gladiator Wookiee get into the back to tank area if the event is happening in the real world present? The massive door guards.
Yes.
Also, Boba taking off his helmet to make speeches about respect, etc., in hostile situations makes no real world sense. Mark, interesting theory, has some merit. Of course, now I just want a whole show about a certain someone who shows up halfway through the episode. Danny Trejo?
No.
Just give that character his own show.
Only if he's bringing his own tacos. Hey, his
There you
tacos
go.
are amazing.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're really good.
Fett deserves a better show. I liked episode 2, however. The Life with Tusken Raiders part in Ep 2 is good. Big City Crime Boss stories segments were okay, not great. Cinematography style-wise, Annie has the best setup.
Thank you.
There you go.
This is my dorm. MTV, welcome to my crib.
Woo!
Wow.
We are going to pimp your ride by the end of the show.
Perfect. Is it a
yeah.
bathtub?
Huh? Yes, you got a back to tank in the back of your cruiser.
We're gonna have
Perfect.
Queer Eye come to your dorm
Is
room.
it like, please? Oh my God,
No,
please.
sorry, Mike's Batman poster for the win. Oh, there you go. Okay, so now Saju and Mike are fighting it out. Or Saju and Mark, rather. Stark, one light. It's a Coen Brothers scene. All right. Okay, I will give you that one. Wow, this is just... I feel like I want to
I feel like I'm
leave them
eavesdropping.
alone. Too many items in the production design for the room of 3 dudes.
Good Lord.
You know what? Let's see. Oh, dear. She does remind me of Haley Steinfeld. What is going on here?
Thank you.
You guys remind me that this is
Why
is
does this
public.
all sound like an 8-bit video game?
I will
right
keep
now?
taking compliments as to my personality being similar to Haley Steinfeld. Like I won't stop that.
I second that emotion.
Thank you.
Danny Trejo makes everything better. I will talk about Danny Trejo in a minute because I'm going to push back on that. The Pike episodes were interesting. Interesting. Thank you for correcting. We have
bullying
some
me.
possible Russian porn from our
Vom
good
that
pal
no.
Mediu.
Hey, the N
It's
is
from the
silent.
no again. Come on, camera. We talk about the book of Boba
Didn't he
Fett.
fly the Falcon with Lando?
Yes. Was that Nub Nub or Num Num or
Nine Num.
Nim Num Num Nuts?
Num
I
num.
thought you were going.
Oh, yeah.
Thought you were going to get Donald Sutherland from Backdraft about it. I have not seen that movie in 30 years, so I didn't catch that reference.
Hey,
I'm not
Dave Crosby's
Steve
in that
Rogers
movie.
here.
Dave Crosby's in that movie.
From Crosby, Stills, and Nash?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Weird. I thought you were going to get, yeah, okay. So yeah, so we read that
For a second
there.
Okay.
Still here. All right. Yeah. So we're catching up. Sujia was hanging out.
I'd be
down for a dream like
I
that.
have no idea what that means.
Last step. He's getting old.
So you was getting old?
Yes, I am. I'm
you're
getting old
dripping, all
listening
right.
to these.
Oh God. I feel
Hey,
like
Dom,
this is...
what if your Christian ministry school saw your
I guess when it
house?
comes to the Book of Boba Fett, I'm getting too old for
I
this.
still want his
Voodoo.
tacos. That's what she said.
That's their own personal business. Backlit by fluorescence, yes.
Wow.
And his tacos, that's what she said. Okay, we are caught up.
Okay.
Wait, oh my God,
No,
we're
there's
not.
still more.
Maybe last episode.
Maybe last
The
episode
last
when things will
episode,
get
you
better.
think I have time for another month to wait for this to get good?
Well,
I'll just wait so I can watch them all. No, but I'm here with you.
There's several moments in this chapter that made me roll my eyes, and one of them was a small moment that I'm like, can't we have some semblance of the old Boba? And it was that moment where he's talking to one of the cyborg kids, and he's like, "Yeah, keep an eye out for him. No disrespect, it's a form of speech." I'm like,
yeah.
Why would Boba Fett care about
how someone's cyborg eye looks? That doesn't sound like
or just how it comes across. I mean, it's
I just love the. I'm sorry.
It's a Wayne's World joke.
I just
party on.
Yeah.
And
those
gotta
cyborg
get that
kids,
humor.
the cyborg kids looked really cheap.
They did.
It looked like really like somewhere between mediocre and good cosplay.
I just don't feel like they fit in Mos Espa at all. I mean, it doesn't look like they. I don't know. Did they get stranded on this Tatooine city? Because they look like they were from like the Coruscant Mall or something. They have those brightly colored, candy colored bikes. One looks like Emma Stone, the other's like Doctor Who Jr., and then you've got cameraman head from Hellraiser 3 / I'll call him Bro Cutis, and I can say that because I'm mixed race. But I think there is just something that's kind of off about this, like all these weird ideas that are being thrown at the screen without any consideration of, does this make sense for Star Wars or does it make sense at all? I was thinking about something last week when folks were talking about Boba Fett and his, kind of a character change. And, he's different than what we've come to expect because now he wants to rule through respect instead of fear. Didn't he get this position by storming into Jabba's palace, executing a bunch of people, and then shooting Bib Fortuna in the face? I mean, did he have this change of heart in this 2 seconds after that? What happened?
You can analyze the actual
you mean how he took over the palace? That was the post. That was the post scene in Mandalorian. But yeah, I think he's supposed to build an army, and he just doesn't have anyone there yet. But I hope that's his plan because so far he just seems like a total incompetent leader who constantly makes mistakes, and Fennec Shan constantly calls him out on it when he's doing it wrong.
But I mean, the army. There's no army. Is it going to be the pumpkins?
I think it's just little by little.
Did you say the pumpkins?
Yeah, the
pumpkins. I don't know.
The pumpkins?
I hope during the final battle, a huge destroyed building falls on the little punk kids.
The little Rancor.
Yeah,
you're gonna end up loving them. They're the baby Yoda of this series. You thought one cute little collectible figure was a good thing. What about 4 of them on bikes?
God.
Only if they look like they came out in 2007. That's my
She stole it from Aunt Beru.
Oh, speaking of which, I made a promise to y'all. If for every episode that we don't get off of Tatooine, I'm going to take a shot. Now, I'm keeping it Star Wars related and the fact that I don't want to activate the alcoholism in my lineage. So it's just blue milk. Pretend it's a blue Russian or whatever you want to call it.
It's not Drano, is it?
Drink.
I wish it were. I was going to chug, but then it'd probably run down my face, and that's not very good for a live stream. Although it might clash with my overly active background.
The stuff I had with Galaxy's Edge was pretty good. It was like a coconut slushy.
How was that? Because I've seen a video of a lady reacting to it and other people having it, and they're all like, "Oh, it's good."
The blue one's better than the green one.
Well, I've seen the still of Mark Hamill at Galaxy's Edge with the blue milk, and he looks like he's having actual war flashbacks, and he's staring away from the camera.
He's just thinking of that thing he was milking.
And he's just like, look, he's got like the most distraught expression, and behind him is the Millennium Falcon.
Jeff York.
How do I say something
Hi,
nice
Jeff
about
York.
this? Yeah.
Okay, hold on. We're going to catch up with some of these comments here. Okay. Maz getting gentrified with those kids, possibly. Brian Trina hanging out in the comments, my old art school buddy. Welcome, Brian. Emma Stone could be Dr. Aphra, a character that she's got her own comic series now, right? Or something.
She has her own degree.
Oh, well, she's a doctor after all.
See?
The series was a last-minute idea that they threw together, or it was a concept that Disney didn't have any confidence in, but needed something to fill in a dead schedule space. It's feeling like that.
A statement or an apology?
Well, Mark didn't do it. Just guessing, of course. Gentrified, so that's how the Force awokens. Wow. Stuart just smiles. What Mark said, filler with little confidence. That's how I got most of my dates in school.
The army.
The army may be Tusken Raiders.
What army?
The one he was assembling. Well, that's maybe he only watched the first
He's
half
gathering
of the
people. He's doing them favors like the Mandalorian to put him on his team. It's lame.
Let's see. Romulan ale.
Cheers to you. Eft.
Okay.
Afra.
Is that
APHRA.
I thought that was like a Star Wars swear or something.
No, every time we see aft, we drink.
Aft.
All right, Boba's army at the end of the show.
Why at the end of the show? Why? What is the purpose?
Because they don't have anything to write.
I know, but like, you please don't pick this up. Like, I don't know if they understand that. Like, even with like the Wookiee, the Gladiator Wookiee, coming in for an episode and then just being like, and leaving after they set him free.
I like how they set him free and he starts running. Like, where are you running to, bro?
Yeah. We've learned this already, that fan service only makes people more disappointed.
I guess. Yeah.
It doesn't work. And if you're going to do fan service right, you want to service the expectations that you set for this show through some seriously really great Star Wars content. Reflecting on Clone Wars, reflecting on Mando, reflecting on Rebels, reflecting on other Disney, not all Disney, but most Disney, some Disney. You know that quality can be there, and with such a high demand market reach for this specific character, and you want, I know Mike wants to see blood and guts and gore, and that would be wicked. That'd be super cool. But at the same time, like, I want to see, even if this was anthology, if you didn't have an actual plot and you could admit to it, like be like JJ Abrams, like, I don't want to hear an apology 10 years down the line and be like, we didn't know what we're doing. I want to, if you don't have a plan, do what they did with What If. Just chop it up. Do something. You have the resources, you have the ability. It's it's not like you don't have the creativity or the team or the talent behind it. And it's not because people don't want to see Tamara Morrison's face. It's fine. He looks like Pitbull if you left Pitbull under a tanning bed for too long. But my point still stands. Like, if you don't know what to do what they did with Visions. Just make it anthology.
Don't know what to do. Do what they did with Vision.
Well, I don't want to see
Visions.
That's a great
Star Wars Visions, not from Marvel.
Yeah, but here's what I want to see: not blood and guts and gore. I just want to see Boba Fett prove how strong he is, but at the same time, I would like to see something that examines his character. We're already here. He doesn't need to be mysterious anymore. So let's go to Camino and identity and all that I keep coming back on. Where is that story? Why does he want to show respect? Because the Tusken Raiders brought him back to life, so he respects them. Okay. Where is that? Because so far, what I saw was almost like a Diet Mandalorian episode where it was like one of those, and I'm not going to use the F word, but it was almost like one of those episodes where Stephen Root comes in there. He's like, they're taking my water. So Boba Fett comes in. He says, hey, you teenagers, stop taking that water. Well, nobody pays us. Well, you'll work for me. And then, of course, Stephen Root comes out. He's like, oh, but they're taking my water. And then the rest of it's just like, oh, look, he gets a cool Rancor. Here's more stuff we like.
The Star Wars universe is a higher employer than actual real life.
Yeah, so the Star Wars universe apparently is very interconnected where everyone always knows each other. And we don't get any real new characters that are interesting.
Yeah, and the whole thing with the Tusken Raider village getting, raided, and you see the smoke on the horizon, everything's burned
Now
out.
that
Again,
I was relieved to see. I'm like, oh, thank God they're dead, and he's not gonna try to like, bring all of Tatooine back for them or something. Like, this is for them. I believe
This
in
just
honor
in:
now.
Mike Crowley supports genocide of indigenous.
Especially
people.
you're killing Tuscan teens.
I'm gonna wear some sort of like hat that resembles me supporting Anakin Skywalker.
wow, I've known Mike for years. I always assumed he was a fan of genocide, but no. Here's the thing.
I knew a girl named Genocide.
This is episode 3 of this show. I feel like there's a way that you could have made that Tuscan Raider village being wiped out have the weight that we were supposed to feel, but it's just not there. I think part of that is because of this wacky flashback structure, but it's also because it's on Tatooine, and we've seen so much stuff that just borrowed from the other Star Wars movies. Like when Luke comes home to Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru's farm, it's devastating. We spend less screen time with them than we did all those Tuscan Raiders over the course of those first hour and a half or whatever, and yet you feel more for these poor farmers.
It would have been a great shot if it was just smoke in the distance, and he's coming over a ridge, and he just sees the body of the Tuscan teen, like barely alive, and he goes to kind of like. Sure, you can have the holding moment or whatever, but he goes to like kind of, talk to him, engage with him, and he's kind of has his last, and then we don't have to cut to a scene of, he could just look up and see the smoke, and it's obvious. But we have this connection, this moment, instead of, such an overdone scene of like, burnt up banthas and charred remains and, like burnt tents and destroyed everything. It's like, how many times we've seen that in westerns and samurai films? Come on, Star Wars films for that matter.
It was cool to see him cross the planet on the bantha, though. I really did think that was some of the episode's greatest moments, just because of how cinematic it was. I grew up riding horses. I had horses as a kid. I had horses in my young adult life, and that kind of reminds me of my own, equine background. I'm not moving as painfully slow, but it's.
Well, I was gonna say it would have been great to have like, if this is a 39-minute episode, to have like 12 minutes of him just riding the banthas.
I think the design of the banthas.
Might as well. Let's switch to slow cinema. Star
Those things are so slow. It's like you're telling me that he left Mos Espa on that thing, and it's like he's. First of all, how does he know where everything is? It's the desert, okay.
He's been through the desert on a bantha with no name.
Right. Bantha knows.
Well, but he is going to ride a Rancor. Well, the geography of this thing makes no sense. I still don't understand Jabba's palace, and yet he's the crime boss of this other town. But if you look at all the setups of Jabba's palace, it doesn't look like there's anything for like hundreds of miles around.
Yeah, well,
there's not even like little fiefdoms or anything.
I mean, originally Jabba's palace was part of the monk. It was like a sanctuary, and Jabba took it over, and that's why all these kind of spider monks hang out. It's basically these monks have detached their minds into these spider robots, and so they are like freeing themselves from their bodies, and they're just on these little spider robots.
That's more interesting than anything that happened in this episode.
I would like to know more about that.
Well, that was in Return of the Jedi originally, because we saw him when 3PO and R2 entered Jabba's palace, but then it became in like the books and the comics and all that stuff. Yeah, let's talk about this Wookiee fight, because it was just so underwhelming. I mean, literally Wookiee in the middle. Literally, it was a Wookiee in the middle fight. It was ridiculous, and these punk kids are coming in going. It's like, first of all, like Mike said, how did this guy get in there? I mean, have some build up. I mean, you could have had like some really interesting, shadowy characters sneaking around, or something. I mean, they wanted to have it surprising where he pulls them out of the back of the tank. Okay, but it just brings more questions. It's like, how did this guy get into the palace?
I think you if you wanted to make, go really dark, you have him just kind of like slasher movie style kill each of those kids
That would be
as he
awesome.
makes his way into the palace, because you think, oh, these are gonna be like the lovable rascals that Boba Fett's gonna take and adopt. No, they're all dead by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
I want to jump to well, first of all, all paths lead back to Tatooine. That's what I'm afraid of. Seriously, they should have blown up the desert planet instead of Alderaan and saved everyone a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I was thinking that actually.
Sajua gets to something really, I think, poignant here. The bad structure in the show would only make sense if everything we are seeing are dream memories. Otherwise, ding, 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 ding. It is a badly written, directed, shot, and edited show. After 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, I can't help but wonder, is this even possible, what we're seeing right now? Because it doesn't feel like the people who are involved in this show had anything to do with that other show. It feels like this is the show that came out, didn't last more than 4 episodes, and they came back a few years later saying, look, we screwed up, we've learned our mistakes, here's The Mandalorian, and it just blows everyone out of the way.
Like, what we did in our summer break show.
Yeah. This is the B crew. This is the B crew doing it, not the A crew.
It's just they have all this technology to use now, and it's like, well, we could easily make a Boba Fett show. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But it's, even the stuff that wowed me in The Mandalorian, when we're first seeing like more of Tatooine and more of these settlements and everything, there's still this sense of awe. But now when you see it, it's just like, there's more huts, not like literal, like the Warren people, but the little buildings and stuff. It's just not interesting. And I feel like we're not getting off of Tatooine. I hope I'm wrong. I heard a rumor earlier this week involving, I don't know how confirmed it is. We'll just wait and see if it happens. People are saying it's gonna be the next Luke Skywalker moment, like with the Mandalorian, as far as like surprise appearance, and it's gonna blow up the internet.
Please no Han Solo.
I hear. Well, Mike directly
it's worse than that.
He thinks it's gonna be a. Do you want me to say it? Want me to leave
what could be worse than Han Solo showing up?
Well,
let's go by the rules. Nobody's ever dead in Star Wars. Darth Maul got chopped in half and got robot legs. So
love that, dude.
Who else? Yeah.
No, think worse than that, and think about the timeline that we're in. Annie, what were you? I said
that Mike made a specific prediction that he messaged me about. Reference the quote unquote Luke Skywalker moment. I don't know if you guys want to know what he said to me. I don't want to ruin any surprises if his
it's not really a spoiler, it's just a guess. I bet they'll bring, and can I say it?
Sure.
If you want to.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't matter. We're just speculating.
He thinks that Mace Windu is gonna show up.
Yeah. And chop his head off.
That.
I don't really want to see Mace Windu again. I think that you could save that for something else.
I don't think they're creative enough to do that.
Well,
judging by this show.
Why would he be there? It just
I don't know. They'll find out some reason. Maybe like Boba Fett will find out that like he's still alive and he wants to go kill him, and then either in season 2 or something he'll chop his head off, and it kind of goes back to the image of like, or the whole George Lucas poetry
I just don't need to see. We've already seen Mace Windu. We've already spent time with Mace Windu. If you're gonna make a show about a specific person, do what you did before and focus in on that individual on their own. Give them that time to shine, because I don't want this to be cameo central, which was all, I had fears about that for other things this year. And, it worked out well where it wasn't exactly cameo central, but like with this, I think that Luke Skywalker moment blew expectations out of proportions for Lucasfilm. Yeah. And just because it was it is still that is one of the best finales I've ever seen of a television series, just because of how unpredictable and how exciting it was to watch, and how well that they concealed everything and kept that so airtight. I think if I expect to see a cameo, even like Danny Trejo, I was like, okay,
it's Rodriguez.
Why should I? What is he gonna do? Is it like a one and done contract where he makes $1 million off of this? Like, it's not contributing anything besides being an Easter egg hunt for these celebrities that don't really stay into the extent of the show.
That's what I'm concerned about, is that they'll all be like, are we going to care about the plot and the characters, or are we just going to care about who shows up? And I'm worried Mandalorian season 2 might have opened up that can of worms. So it's like, hey, this worked well. Now let's keep milking that cow until there's nothing left to milk.
Well, I'll get to Danny Trejo in a second because I think he's kind of the key to what we're talking about here. But as far as this spoiler, the thing is, it's so ridiculous that when I first heard it, I'm like, there's no way. But now after watching episode 3, I'm like, yeah, probably. Do you guys want to know what this is?
Yeah.
We might as well.
Sure,
We
go for
crossed the territory.
Go for it.
Talk about something interesting.
I think it's supposed to take place on Tatooine. You're going to see the Millennium Falcon, and you're going to see what we didn't get in any of the prequels. Han, Luke, and Leia, and yes, Grogu, all together again.
How would that make
That doesn't make any sense.
What? Why?
Well, I mean, we're talking about post Jedi, so they're all alive. We're talking about post Jedi, so they're all alive. They haven't broken up the band yet, so it's entirely possible they're like
Grogu there?
Talk about
because
doubling
Luke
down
Grogu's
on
with
resurrecting the dead through CGI when they said they weren't going to do that.
We already got
but they could get
3PO droid. That's not all I need. That's the only we got the 3PO having a panic attack. That's it. No more callbacks for me. Let's progress.
Yeah.
There's literally a cat humanoid creature wearing Leia's slave bikini, and they're not doing anything with that. It's been in this episode. It's been in the last episode.
I missed that.
And we're supposed to see the Holy Trinity of Han, Luke, and Leia.
I don't want to.
No.
Who's gonna be? What are they gonna do? CGI Carrie Fisher?
They did that with Rogue One.
Yeah. So it'll be the third time they CGI her. Then I
isn't it a bit disrespectful?
I just want to hear Mark
Hamill.
Her estate signed her rights away. There's nothing.
Her estate said, "Hey, give us the money." But yeah,
I want to hear Mark Hamill voice Han Solo. Hey kid, what are we doing?
If you're gonna do anything with Mark Hamill, just bring back like a Sebastian Stan CGI Mark Hamill Luke.
No, you see, here's the thing. That's what kind of ruined the Mando finale for me. Is I liked the idea of Luke Skywalker coming back. His face was still wonky. Like I feel like 20 years from now they're going to have this technology perfect. Right now we're still in that kind of awkward phase. It looks much better than it was 20 years ago, but I'm still watching him because I know that's not a 25-year-old Mark Hamill. But and that causes my brain to really focus and help me understand why I'm not seeing what I'm seeing. Once they get this, deep fake stuff 100% correct, and I'm completely lost in it, well, that'll be frightening, but, it won't take me out of the show. All right. So who's the surprise?
Oh,
Jar Jar
please.
Binks?
That would be amazing.
Wow.
I will stand up and cheer if that happens.
Okay. Can you record
Jar Jar
yourself?
Binks with if Jar Jar Binks, let me revise that. If Jar Jar Binks comes out with a red lightsaber, I will cheer out. No.
Wow.
I'm kidding. God, no. But it would be funny.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you wanted to do something with Star Wars and do some kind of like a weird, like a commentary, because Jar Jar survived all of the movies, he just kind of disappeared, right? Mm-hmm. As far as we know, bring Jar Jar back. He doesn't have to be like a big character. But
you forgot the hashtag.
Hashtag bring Jar Jar back.
Yeah, restore the Jar Jar. But I mean, I'm thinking about Ahmed Best, the actor who voiced him in the prequel trilogy, and the hard time he had because it was such a laughable character. People started giving him grief. What if you were to take Jar Jar Binks? And because he was sort of the reason that, one of the reasons that the Emperor was able to rise to power and kind of screw up everything in the galaxy, what if, not that he becomes a serious character, but like a really persecuted kind of tragic character who ends up maybe in a dive bar on, Tatooine somewhere, and he has to have a redemptive arc. Not that he's, crazy goofy anymore, but he's matured, but he's still not taken seriously.
Yeah.
That's something that you could explore in a show like this. That could actually go somewhere.
Exactly, because television is a writer's medium, and they keep forgetting that they can write a character instead of stupid action scenes or generic things we've seen a million times before.
Jar Jar needs to hook up with Jim Jarmusch and do like Jar Jar shorts and have be like coffee and cigarette style, or Jar Jar rides a bus like Patterson.
Jim
writes poetry.
Yeah.
You David, you've just put out into the world Jim Jar Jar Moosh.
There you go.
God damn. All right. The Skywalker moment is why we have Book of Boba Fett laugh out loud. That's true.
Yes.
Surprise count will be Iron Man.
No.
That makes as much sense as anything
They're gonna
else.
open up the multiverse, and then Star Wars becomes.
Mark, how was that wine tasting? Has it hit?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark, you were drinking some pretty swank looking wine. How is it?
Swanky.
Answer if you can reach the keyboard.
If you can actually type coherently, let us know.
Yeah, that's right. He gave the Emperor or the Chancellor, I think, at that point, supreme emergency executive power.
Yeah, he did.
Wine. Okay, so
I hear
Dan.
ya.
All right.
This might be the shortest show yet.
No, we got to talk about Danny Trejo, which we're going to do
Okay.
right now.
Please do.
Why?
Danny
He didn't do
Trejo.
anything.
What
was just
would you want him to do?
This
Do
He should
more?
just, he
Get
should
out
just
a
talk about
machete?
like his.
Yes. This is where you could do like a Darksaber thing, but with his machete.
It would be cool if he's like, I heard about you, Boba Fett. One time badass or something. You know, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be like, I used to be a real desperado. No. All right. Here's the thing about Danny Trejo. He is the perfect embodiment of Boba Fett. When a lot of people first saw Danny Trejo was probably in Robert Rodriguez movies. I think the first time I was aware of him was in Desperado, and he would show up in these little cameos. He was always that like mysterious, really tough looking badass dude who would barely say anything, if anything at all, and kick a lot of ass and then go away. Much like Boba Fett. But the reason he's got a career and we're all talking about him now is because he will show up, and no disrespect to Danny Trejo or anybody who's, trying to make their way in the universe. He's in everything from TV commercials to, he's got like David mentioned, he's got like a taco stand in Chicago, like a franchise, which is supposed to be really good.
What?
We got to hit
It's in
that up.
Chicago?
Yeah, they have one in Chicago. Yeah.
So what's it called?
Danny Trejo Taco Chicago? I don't know.
The equivalent of look it up in a dictionary is Google it.
Or you can even go to dictionary.com. I don't think that'll help with Danny Trejo tacos, but
Whatever happened to human?
Trejo's Tacos in the Chicago Loop.
Yeah, there you go.
It's got 2.3 stars.
Mm.
It is permanently closed.
Oh no.
Rude. It's just rude.
Wow.
And that's why he's on Boba Fett now.
Yeah.
It was a taco stand, a coffee place, and a donut place.
It was good.
And much like the tacos themselves, it appears to have folded. But here's the thing. He is in everything. He'll show up in direct-to-video movies, TV cameos, movie cameos, all this stuff. So the mystery of Danny Trejo is gone. It's no longer like, oh, I wonder what he's going to do. It's like, oh, it's Danny Trejo.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I first saw him, that kind of like a long shot where he's, kind of small and compared to the Rancor, you can still see that definitive, like, stiff upper Danny Trejo lip, like his trademark. I'm like, yep, he's in the show now. And what does he do? He delivers the Rancor. And what is the Rancor? It was this giant, untamed, monstrous, slobbering beast that would rip people in half, and it was merciless.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's cuddly. It's a baby Rancor.
It's
and
sleeping.
And they're just, it's
Don't
sleeping, and it just needs to bond.
It
needs to connect. Like a werewolf in Twilight. It needs to connect with someone, the first person it sees, and then it'll be your friend. I'm like, this show is done. It is this Boba Fett particularly, but it's also a trend in Marvel and Star Wars. They're neutering all of their monsters, their villainous icons to make them more understandable, relatable. I can understand that once or twice, but everyone, there's nothing as evil or elementally bad anymore.
Palpatine.
Agreed.
But then they made him
from Eternals.
They made him granddaddy.
Exactly, and he came back to life because reasons.
Right. But even he was a gimmick. There was nothing explored there. I mean,
exactly. There's nothing. It's like I heard it from a review show I watched way back. The Star Wars universe, although it's so vast and endless, is extremely limited. It's like they always have to have the same thing. You need to have TIE fighters. You need to have X-Wings. You need to have all the toyetic properties of it. And you need to have the same sort of character arc in all the series, where even if it's a villain, he has to have some redemptive angle where he's going to be a good guy. And it's like, there's so many places they could take this, and they just continue to go with the market trend, which is we're Disney, we're for the kids, and because they Disneyfy everything, I don't see a lot of hope coming in the future. I hope they prove me wrong, but no, I hope there's a new hope later. But
you have no
right
new
now, I
hope.
haven't it. That's right.
Yeah, Mark, I think you're right on the money here. Killed Rancor's parents were killed by hunters. That's your hypothesis for next week. Again, I just don't know where this show is going. I fully expect that the climax of this is going to be some kind of a raid on some building where you're going to have, Boba Fett riding the Rancor into battle with these punk kids on their bicycles.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's gonna look goofy.
When he
Have him
talked
use his
about
jetpack.
no. When he talked about riding that thing, I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's gonna look goofy, like him on the shell, with and he'll probably have his helmet off because he's an idiot. He doesn't know that snipers exist,
Yeah, it really is.
Please
It
don't
does
show
seem
that.
like this vanity thing where he's constantly taking off his helmet.
Yeah.
All right. It's funny. I think the mayor's was it.
Matt
Oh yeah, Stephen Root's character when he goes the water guy when he goes to Boba Fett in the beginning, he just lays out the thesis of this entire show where he says no one respects you.
Yep.
And who thought that coming into a Boba Fett show that was going to be even on the table?
Yeah.
I
I
thought people would be like, "Oh my god, he's alive," but nobody cares.
Honestly, you could have had, just spitballing here, instead of having him get out of the Rancor's, or not the Rancor, the Sarlacc's belly in 3 minutes, because the thing that always struck me about Return of the Jedi was when they were describing the Sarlacc pit, you were slowly going to be digested over the course of 1,000 years.
Yeah.
I was like, how big is this thing? Wouldn't it have been really weird if there were people or creatures surviving in the belly of the Sarlacc pit? It's kind of like the Genesis planet in Star Trek 2, where it's like these underground caves that lead to this giant ecosystem that nobody knows about. What if instead of these back to flashbacks, Boba Fett was trying to get his way out of the Sarlacc pit and just having flashbacks regaling people of his previous adventures in the galaxy?
Wow.
Instead of whatever is happening now, because there's no forward momentum in this story. The character doesn't make sense. And I feel like we're running on fumes talking about it. We're not even halfway done with this thing yet.
Yeah.
What if he told us about his ship and whatever happened to the new name and all that good stuff?
You wouldn't be able to say it on television.
We don't use that
They renamed it.
anymore.
They renamed it.
Yeah, we
I know.
talked about this.
Did they
Right.
officially do
Yeah.
that, or is that like an internet?
No,
No, they
well,
did it.
I wish I could say
Morrison
something on the
confirmed it.
air right now that I can't.
Was it a reference to the movie 12 Years a Slave 1?
Oh boy.
Because I thought about that. By the way, I love that movie. Not and not
I
for
love the
not for
racist
any.
movie about being a slave.
It's not a racist movie. It's a movie involving racists, and I don't love it because of the racism. I just want to clear that up.
I figured.
Well, I just I'm trying to give you a pass for not being a genocidal maniac, Mike. Although I did kind of throw you under that bus. All right, so this is seriously a toss-off. Is a toss-off show just so they have something filling the hole in the show schedule. I don't like the use of the phrase toss off and hole in the same two sentences, but whatever. Or this is Favreau saying, be careful what you ask for, nostalgia screaming toxic fans out there. I'm perfectly willing to
Why
be
would
an
Favreau do that? Why would you destroy the thing that you
Yeah.
Maybe Sejua has it right
Why
here.
would you join the thing that you swore to destroy? What's wrong with you?
Wow, let me think about that.
He could ask George Lucas about that.
I think he'd have a
see,
stroke in front of me if I asked him about this. He'd take off his little plaid and his white sneakers and his jeans, and he'd lose his mind.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then you have a naked George Lucas.
Oh God! Don't make me picture that.
But that's the thing. Why would they intentionally? It's like Netflix making the worst thing that you've ever seen in your life, and then renewing it for 5 seasons. Why would they intentionally send something that's poorly crafted out into the universe?
this
Just because
reminds
they
me.
want to upset fans, like that doesn't. The fans will upset themselves.
Yeah. I think a
reminds
lot
you
of
of what,
fans are
Mike?
going through fan denial publicly right now where they're like, no, it's still good. I'm digging what they're doing. I'm like, are you though? Because I was telling myself the same thing. And I've been there. I was there during the prequels. I know what it's like.
Could this be the long game? I mean, because this creative team has done so well, and we've spent hours, praising their previous work. I don't think they're putting out something that they believe is deliberately bad.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps deliberately, like, lowering expectations so you can have the big, third act. Like, we're gonna come from behind and impress everybody. I don't know if they're. It doesn't feel like that though. And I don't think that's being deliberate. I think they just genuinely feel this is good, and they might be surprised. Like, why aren't people loving this? It's Star Wars. It's us. But, it's Star Wars and it's us isn't quite cutting it anymore.
This is us.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Every time
But
they
the
try
thing
something
is
different.
is this going to be the expectation for everything? Is this going to be the expectation for Andor? Is this going to be the expectation for Obi? Is it going to be the expectation for Ahsoka? Like, do I have to continually approach this original programming with a low bar and a clear state of mind to approach it, like to appreciate it fully? Or is just this kind of like a blip in the timeline? They're like, okay, we can learn from the poor reception and kind of evolve our storytelling moving forward. Because again, they have a really impressive creative team who has proved themselves before. I want to understand their perspective. I want to understand where they're coming from when working on this and sitting, gathering together and doing table reads and revising scripts and directing and going, yeah, this is it, and really hyping this up. I do understand why there was kind of a lack of marketing behind this and a lack of promotion, just because there are so many expectations cast out into the universe that aren't being met.
Yeah.
Do you think that there was some sort of understanding that they couldn't meet expectations?
I don't think so.
I feel like we're gonna get the real, like, if this show actually ends up being amazing, they're just saving all the great stuff up, I will happily eat my words.
Me too.
I'm just hoping that, because I just don't get how, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and Robert Rodriguez could do this poorly at it. And I'm wondering, was it because Kathleen or whoever else at Disney was saying, no, you can't do this, you have to do this, and then slowly they were realizing, oh my God, this is why a lot of people end up quitting Star Wars or don't work for Disney or blah 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 blah, because they take something that's amazing and they can sometimes destroy it, like any other studio, of course. But
is Kathleen Kennedy really to blame for this, though?
I don't.
No, I don't mean her specifically, just whoever. Yeah.
Right. Well, from what I've heard, there's kind of a schism within Disney Lucasfilm, and there's two distinct camps. There's Kathleen Kennedy, and then there's Favreau Filoni, and they're both kind of in charge of their respective little domains.
Right.
Kennedy with the films, and the other guys with the TV stuff. But I mean, Annie, when you were talking, I was reminded of something because Robert Rodriguez directed an episode of The Mandalorian last season. And I remember there's a story that came out where he was kind of, I don't know if he was complaining or if he was just like, joshing or whatever, but he was like, I got the script for the episode. It was like something like 6 pages long.
And he cut it up.
All, like, no, it was literally like John would write some dialogue and this like insert like, 10-minute action scene here. And he's like, okay. I'm wondering if these same folks are involved in Obi-Wan, maybe they're kind of like torn between the two projects and giving that one more attention, because Favreau is credited as the writer for I think all of these episodes, and they're so bare bones that I feel like it's almost like kind of Tarantinoing it. You write a really basic story, but then you do a 52 card shuffle and to like throw everything up in the air, and then you just rearrange the pages in this flashback structure to make it look like there's more going on than there is, so that maybe the low expectations is this entire series. Then when Boba Fett or when Obi-Wan comes around, they're like, "This is sort of what Mark was saying." Feeling a schedule thing.
I'll issue an apology statement to the team of Boba Fett if that's the case. Like, I will go live. I'll take off my makeup. I'll like rub my mascara across my eyelids a little bit to make it look like I'm crying. I'll like dishevel my hair. I'll sit down, I'll take a deep breath, and I'll issue my apology statement. But if that's not the case, I will, where is that energy going to? Because
I have a feeling
that they have the energy and they have the technology. They're shooting everything within the volume, which is mind-boggling to me. Even watching Boba cross the desert, I'm looking at the screen and I'm like, where does this effects begin and where does the actual set end?
Yeah.
Because it just shows when he's moving in these hundreds of miles, and you can see his footprints seamlessly traced back hundreds of miles. I loved these shots. I absolutely thought they were gorgeous, and I wish we got more of those. But, it's you have the ability. You could use that technology with the punk kids and their bikes, with the huts, with the gladiator Wookiee, with anything else, with the Bacta tank. Like, you don't need to save this for a couple of scenes. You have the ability to apply that as a whole, and yet you're restraining yourself.
Well, and I have a feeling, Annie, that disposition you described of the tears and the mascara and the frazzled hair, that might just be you at the on this live stream at episode 7.
It might be. I'm prepared to admit that. Absolutely.
In solidarity, we'll all be with you and do the same thing.
Now, you said that
David,
John
I'll come
Favreau
over
wrote
and I'll do your makeup so you can take it off.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll wear my
before
Queen
and after.
Amidala makeup and I'll cry.
There you go.
Okay, so
You'll
Mark
die
says,
from sad, just as she did.
Well, yeah.
Exactly. We'll all die from
broken
heart.
they still released John Carter because they spent money on it. Yep. I still say this would have been a better series if they just stuck with the flashback parts as the main show. Sure. I mean, there's so many different avenues that, again, I refuse to lose faith, but they are testing it with this show.
Yeah.
Okay, we've been crapping leaving Bantha Poodoo on our boots all over this episode. What's positive? What did we like about episode 3?
I liked the Bantha shots.
Besides the Bantha shots, yes.
I don't know, Boba Fett fighting the Black Chrysandin just in his undies and being able to hold up against him, I guess. I don't know.
Which I don't understand. He gets thrown against like equipment and there's no like scrapes or bruises or anything on him.
Yeah, that back does it's like Wolverine healing, I guess.
I wanted to hear those special effects, like
Yeah.
Now you're just getting into Three Stooges territory.
Yep.
But we're getting there with
I appreciated the again, the concept art over the end credits is more fascinating to look at. That speaking of that fight scene, just looking at the textures that those digital artists rendered on the painting of what that scene was going to look like. You see like 3 different types and layers of water and goo on Boba Fett's back as he's fighting this thing. This still was on the screen for like 10 seconds. I'm still like leaning over, zooming in with my eyes, like how the hell did they do that? Because that's beautiful painting. David, what about you?
I mean, it's still, I'm still intrigued. But this, as far as what's the good, there's not much good here in this chapter. I just, yeah. I mean, even that, I was thinking about this, that camera shot of when we see the twin huts at the door and the Rancor at the door. It's just a kind of like a medium, kind of an aerial shot a little bit. And if there's nothing being done here that's like visually interesting, we're not like doing a, behind the shoulder view from like, say, Danny Trejo's point of view or something like that. We're not getting any POV shots or anything like that. It's just not, I don't feel immersed really at all. I just feel like, a spectator. It's like, that's what I wanted out of a Star Wars show, is to really feel like immersed. Wow, I lost Mike. He's gone.
He's had it.
He's got an escape pod. Yeah, I just don't feel engaged.
Well, to that point, when you mentioned the twins, They mentioned that the Pikes or whoever they're taking over the planet, all House Atreides style, and so the Hutts they're going back to Hutta, I guess their home world. Maybe we go to Hutta. I don't know. I've always wondered where the heck the Jabba, their species, come from. Is it another sand planet? Is it different? Like,
is it just like a gigantic Walmart? Or...
Nice. Huttas of Walmart. No, but even I'm just interested to see like what are their castles look like, because you mentioned that that Jabba took over this monk monastery or whatever, the spiders. So do they have kind of an indigenous society of like buildings and stuff? Or they all just like live in the ground? Like, what is that like? Again, imagination. I want to go somewhere else.
Yeah. I don't watch Star Trek.
Well, that's the illness talking. By the way, we hope you're feeling better. Yeah. So I think we're just about done here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Help me out. 4 more episodes?
Yes.
I think that show's 8 total, right?
Or I thought it was 7.
I think it's 7.
Okay.
The unlucky 7. God, don't put that out there. That there's 8 of these things.
Every single one of them are written by Jon Favreau.
I don't know if they all are, but I think they have been up to this point.
And look, I like Jon Favreau a lot. I think he's a very.
I like the Chef show.
Chef was great. Elf was my first real experience with Jon Favreau. And
Cowboys and Aliens.
I almost ran into him in 2019, where he almost walked into me. That was neat.
He still talks about
Downey Jr. was there. That was also neat. But it was like he has this reputation as a trailblazer. He came to Celebration in 2019. He's like, I have all these cool ideas, Chicago. And everyone in the Winchester Arena was like, we love you, Jon Favreau. I wish I still had that energy. I wish he still had that energy to, bring, instead of just kind of letting the script, where you did the 52 card pickup and you're like, okay, we're going to ping pong our way through each episode and back to the future, if you will.
Well, here's my idea.
I want to see improvement with his work because it's there and we know that he can do it.
Sure.
He can. And Annie, I think you've inspired me. We're going to do an 8th episode.
Ooh.
If Jon Favreau does pull it off and come through and surprise all of us, the 8th episode is going to be a 4-hour live stream of us drinking and doing audio commentary over the first 7 episodes of this show.
I'll do that regardless.
That's easy. Yeah.
I'll be here anyways. It doesn't have to be us like issuing an apology statement. I'll just show up and it will be me and a bottle of wine and we'll just hang out. Yeah.
Remember when we thought the show wasn't going anywhere? Oh my God. Yeah.
Speaking of remembering, we got another comment there.
Oh, okay. Remember when Han Solo went Boba Fett where? And he did that Laurel and Hardy thing where he had a board and went one way and the board went the other way and knocked him down. Yeah, Boba Fett went out like a punk.
The thing about that was it was quick. It wasn't like they weren't, it wasn't heavy-handed humor or anything like that. It was just it was all happening really quick. And if you got that deep cut reference, you got it. But if you didn't, it's no big deal. So, and it just in that moment, you realize that, oh, well, Solo does have some kind of a history with Boba Fett,
Now, if we're going to bring back Solo, I want to bring back the Solo from...
Aldrin?
Yeah.
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 I don't want to see...
Might as well. Don't de-age people.
Harrison Ford doesn't want to be there. Star Wars doesn't want Harrison Ford there. We know that he's over it. We've known he's past
let the man rest.
Let him rest. He's doing Indy 5. Let him rest.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to do that, I would love to see a young Han Solo. I will eat my words and say that I don't want, that will be my exception for Han Solo. If it's Harrison Ford, that's just cheap. I would view that as a cheap cop-out and a cheap way for them to actually add a punch that this show needs. I don't think that it's a genuine cameo. I think with the Luke one, it was genuine. I think that was something that contributes to what Star Wars is about.
I would take a Donald Glover cameo.
And if you think it's going to be there and you expect it and you hunt and you wait and you cross your fingers you pray to George Lucas and Lucasfilm every night like I do, then you'll know. Like, you're going to expect that. But I don't want to see, a very disoriented Harrison Ford.
Look, I mean, to that point, though, I'm one of the, David and I both really enjoyed the Solo movie. We saw it together. We did a podcast about it afterwards.
It's a good movie.
It is. And I was disappointed that it was such a poor reaction that they said no sequels, no nothing. Imagine if, not even using my idea of like the Sarlacc pit flashbacks, but just if they're going to use this flashback structure, have Boba Fett think back to his life before he ended up in Return of the Jedi. You could have like a 3-episode arc of him chasing a young Han Solo and even a young, Lando Calrissian. Get Alden Ehrenreich and Donald Glover back for 3 episodes and just do something cool and then build off of that.
And the nice thing is you don't have to de-age him because he can just wear the helmet.
Oh my gosh!
It could be. Yes, exactly. Imagine a Boba Fett series where he never takes off. Him, going with it. That's the other thing. We've lost the whole Mandalorian code of the Mandalorian. That Boba Fett is the first time that any of us knew what a Mandalorian was. So he should sort of be the standard bearer for this. The Mandalorian on that other show is sort of like a branch sect of it or something, or I don't even remember the whole lore, but yeah, this guy takes off his mask more than a Spider-Man or a Marvel hero. All right, so let's catch up with some comments before we go. I can get Favreau's agent's number, no problem. Yeah,
then do it.
Prove it.
Let's
put it up there.
Okay.
Let's see some deets, Don.
All right,
put it out here live on the internet.
Right now, we have this written, right? What do we want to bet, Don?
What do we want to bet
on or bet done?
I would like him to get in contact with Jon Favreau's agent about this. What do we want to get him in contact about, and what do we want to make a bet about? If he says he can do it, we got to.
I don't think he can do it.
I would bet. I don't know what I would bet. I just want to know from his agent, like, is this really going to get better? Is it like life after high school? Does it get better? Okay, I watched Novel of Jango Fett. It's fun. Oh, hell no, he sucks. Is he talking about Will? Sorry,
talking about me.
He's your co-host. No, the cameo will be Han Solo. Yeah, I'll buy Annie's alphabets and start spelling the words now. No, it wasn't. I don't. That's part of the problem. Like I'm not quick enough to keep up with these comments or references. Again, I'm not Steve Rogers. Anyway, this has been Chapter 3 of the Book of Boba Fett. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and watching. Done. Go to the FB chat. Oh, wow.
Huh? Is this Wordle? We can end right there.
What the hell is Wordle? It's
Wordle, I think,
Twitter.
is related to Yoda, or that was Yaddle.
Yaddle.
That's Yaddle. The pink Yoda with the scars.
Called a sexy Yoda.
Somebody called you a sexy Yoda?
Yes.
Were you like sick and green?
No, I was.
I don't know what happened there.
It was me.
Wow.
I was at Celebration in 2019, and I was watching Let me preface with everyone there was intoxicated, except for the person that called me a sexy Yoda, and I was having the time of my life watching a lightsaber demonstration.
Wow.
And this guy was talking to me, and I was with a bunch of friends. We're trying to meet new people and hang out. And we're talking to him. And he's like, "Oh, are you guys cosplaying this weekend?" Blah blah blah. And I was like, "No, I just showed up last minute. Like, I'm gonna probably leave tomorrow morning or something. I didn't have the ticket. I just decided to come walk in and walk around and check it out." And he goes, "Oh, that's too bad because I'm doing Empire Strikes Back Luke tomorrow."
Oh no!
You could be on my back.
You could be.
No, you did not say that.
You could be on my back. You'd make a really sexy Yoda. And then I said, "Thanks. It was great to meet you."
This guy, he went back to his mother's basement and lived happily ever after.
We parted ways. I wish I still kept in contact with this person just to see what they were up to nowadays.
No. Did you run away like that warrior Wookiee in this episode?
I did. Yeah, I was free to my shackles of that social.
I would love it. I would love like an end credit scene where he's still running in the desert. It's like
he's like, "Oh,
I owe you an apology."
He doesn't dig for the coconut.
Ugh.
So Wordle,
That's
you know what Wordle is? It's this new word game on Twitter that I have no idea what everybody's doing.
I see people posting like, I got Wordle and whatever. I'm like,
I don't know what you're doing.
I don't
what are
either.
you posting?
I do like the idea that it is a relative of Yoda, but he's the one that you don't talk about. All right, I got the word today and 4 guesses, and then flirting Star Wars style. Yes, that's what we are doing here on the Book of Boba Fett.
I got the word today and
I've been
4.
making eyes at Mike all night. All right, so
Oh yeah.
the last
just
one.
a website. That's what it boils down to.
All right, so I'm closing out the comments tonight. Thank you everybody for tuning in, hanging out, commenting. It's been a lively chat for a show that, I mean, I'm surprised that we did not that we made it for over an hour talking
No
about
offense,
this episode.
but I was ready to leave 20 minutes ago.
I get it. I have that effect on people. But anyway, thank you, everybody. David Fowley of Keeping It Real, Mike Crowley of You'll Probably Agree, and 25 years later, Annie Banks of Truckload of Comics and Movie Web. I am Ian Simmons of Kicking the Seat. Please join us back here. Actually, I believe next week our live stream is going to be Thursday night because I will be traveling, and I will be hopefully back and safe in my basement by Thursday night, 8:30 p.m. Central. Seattle, kind of
Close.
the same thing.
Close.
Yeah, full of
They have a
it's
space
rainy
needle.
and wet and dark. But yeah, so there'll be a new day and time, but we will be back here talking about chapter 4 of the Book of Boba Fett here on the Boba Fett Book Club. Please like and subscribe to the channel and support everybody here. All their information will be down in the description. Thanks, everybody. Until next time, this chapter is mercifully closed.
This party's over.
Game over, man.
Wait.